The Galaxy S26 Ultra is already making headlines months before its launch, and one of the biggest talking points right now is its new camera bump. At first glance, you might wonder why Samsung decided to make the bump larger when the phone is using the same sensors as last year's Galaxy S25 Ultra. Well, there's actually a very good reason behind this design choice, and in this video, we're going to break it all down. Let's start with the camera bump itself. According to Tipster Universes, the Galaxy S26 Ultra's camera bump measures about 4.5 millimeters thick. To put that into perspective, that's nearly double the size of the Galaxy S25 Ultra's 2.4 millimeter bump. This difference might sound small on paper, but when you hold the phone in your hand, it's going to feel much more noticeable. So why did Samsung go for a bigger bump without adding larger camera sensors? The answer comes down to two major changes: the phone's slimmer body and the wider aperture lenses. The Galaxy S26 Ultra is designed to be just 7.9 millimeters thin compared to the Galaxy S25 Ultra's 8.2 millimeters. By making the phone thinner, the camera module has to protrude more in order to fit the upgraded lenses inside. And speaking of lenses, this is where things get really interesting. The Galaxy S26 Ultra is expected to feature a 200-megapixel primary camera with optical image stabilization and a bright f1. For aperture, there's also a 50-megapixel ultra-wide camera with autofocus, a 12-megapixel telephoto camera with an f2.0 for aperture, and another 50-megapixel telephoto camera with an f2.9 aperture and OIS. The key upgrade here is the wider aperture, the primary and telephoto cameras. Wider apertures allow more light to hit the sensor, which means better photos in low light, brighter images, reduced noise, and higher detail overall. This is especially important for night photography and capturing scenes in tricky lighting conditions. So even though Samsung hasn't added bigger sensors this year, the change in lens design should bring a noticeable improvement in image quality. Of course, better hardware is only part of the story. Samsung is also pairing these cameras with a faster processor, which will help handle all the extra data coming from the upgraded lenses. This should result in sharper still images and smoother video recording. However, on the front side of things, it looks like Samsung is sticking with the same 12-megapixel selfie camera for the entire Galaxy S26 series. Now, let's talk about the overall size and weight of the phone. The Galaxy S26 Ultra is going to be thinner, but you probably shouldn't expect it to feel much lighter. Reports suggest the phone will weigh 217 grams, which is just 1 gram less than the Galaxy S25 Ultra's 218 grams. A 1 gram difference isn't something you're going to notice in daily use. So why didn't Samsung reduce the weight more? The reason is simple. The Ultra series is always packed with the best hardware Samsung has to offer. It needs to carry the top-tier cameras, the most powerful chipset, plenty of memory and storage, and of course, the S Pen. If Samsung wants to keep the S Pen and all those premium features, there's only so much it can do to make the phone lighter without compromising on performance. In fact, unless Samsung decides to completely remove the S Pen in a future model, which doesn't seem likely anytime soon, we probably won't see any big weight reduction in the Ultra line. For now, the marketing team can still say that the S26 Ultra is thinner and lighter, even if the difference is barely noticeable. Moving on, the display is another highlight. The Galaxy S26 Ultra is expected to come with a massive 6.9-inch dynamic AMOLED-to-X screen. This display will support a 120Hz variable refresh rate, HDR10+, and a new screen privacy feature that makes it harder for people nearby to peek at what's on your screen. Samsung has always been known for its excellent displays, and it looks like this one will continue that tradition. Powering all of this is a 5000 mAh battery, the same size as before, but with faster 60-watt charging support. That's a nice upgrade over the Galaxy S25 Ultra and should make charging much quicker. What's still unclear is whether Samsung will include the new Qeta wireless charging standard with built-in magnets, similar to Apple's MagSafe. If it does, that will be a big bonus for those who rely on wireless charging accessories. To sum it all up, the Galaxy S26 Ultra may not bring new sensors to its camera system, but the changes it does bring are meaningful. The bigger camera bump is there for a reason. It houses wider aperture lenses that let in more light and help deliver better photos and videos. The phone itself is thinner, just slightly lighter, and comes with improvements in display technology, charging speed, and overall performance. Samsung is clearly focused on refining the Ultra experience rather than reinventing it this year. And for people who want the very best Samsung has to offer, the Galaxy S26 Ultra is shaping up to be a powerful upgrade.